With 5 games left in the regular season, a Lake Conference title is in reach for Minnetonka. Next up, a Hopkins team rounding into form after a slow start. It's the Royals and the Skippers, and it's next on CCX Sports. Nightfall here at Hopkins. Time for the nightcap as the Royals and the Skippers get set to take the field. The girls' teams this time. Beautiful night and a good night for soccer. Charlie Beatty with you. Jason Malillo will be along shortly as the 4-2 Minnetonka Skippers meet the 3-5 Hopkins Royals. These teams, of course, have met already once this year back in August. Won handily by Minnetonka at Minnetonka 5-1. But Hopkins has won 2 of its last 3 after winning only 1 of its first 5 matches. And they only have to look back to last year. It's for a bad memory for Minnetonka in this stadium, losing 1-0 in overtime, one of only 3 losses on the year for the Skippers last season. And I do welcome in Jason Malillo now. And Jason, interesting matchup. I already mentioned the first meeting between these two teams earlier this year, which was a lopsided scoreline, but that was about a month ago, and a lot can change in a month for high school teams, especially in a season like this.
Yeah, I was just talking to Hopkins head coach Justin Heggery, and he said the first time around, his girls were a little shell-shocked, I think at the talent of Minnetonka. And once they kind of got over that and they settled in a little bit, they played better. And so he feels like they've played a lot better since then and have improved a lot. And looking to make a better showing of it this time around. Obviously a conference rival, crosstown rival, so they always take a lot of pride in playing against Minnetonka. So we'll see if the Royals can make a better showing of it this time around.
And this has been a relatively even matchup over the last couple of years, even though Minnetonka's had the much better success on the season as a whole. They've had a tough time with Hopkins the last few seasons, and for the Royals, got the 3 wins this year against the conference newcomers, so to speak, Buffalo and St. Michael Albertville. There's kind of that big trio at the top. You've got Edina, you've got Wayzata, you've got Minnetonka, all in the top 10. The Royals would like to take a piece out of one of those teams, and that's what they've got left.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think they've kind of they got well against those new teams in the conference. But you're right. I mean, the Edinas, the Wayzatas, the Eden Prairies and the Lake. It's always tough. It's like that on the boys' side and on the girls' side. And so Hopkins needs to start beating those teams consistently, I think, to be considered one of the stronger teams in the conference. But, it's an uphill battle against Minnetonka. They always have good players. They have a coaching staff that's been together for a long time, so they have continuity there as well, and they always have skilled players. So I think important for the Royals to really start fast here, start strong, not be intimidated, and just and try to play hard right from the opening tap.
Of course, Minnetonka only 2 years removed from a state championship in a game they won 1-0 over another Lake Conference team, Wayzata. Great game at US Bank Stadium, and they might have even had a better team last year. They were 16-3-1, made it back to the state tournament, lost 1-0 in overtime in that game to Maple Grove. They're hoping to get back to whatever the state tournament may look like this year as Minnetonka kicks it off, and an early clash for the ball. The Skippers able to keep it. Lyle Warren on the ball for Minnetonka, sends it long, looking for Claire Carver. Very balanced offensive group for Minnetonka. No one with more than 3 goals on the season. Stepping up now, Josie Fieldman, one of the captains for Hopkins. Good footwork along this near sideline, but ran it out of play in the first 30 seconds. Minnetonka back on the ball here with Alex Ditrick, one of the seniors on this senior-laden Minnetonka team who was a part of that state championship game as a sophomore a couple of years ago. A lot of experience with 12 seniors on the roster for Minnetonka. Hopkins no slouch. They've got 8 of their own. Ella Roach, another one of those seniors, drops it back. Peyton Mahadi back on defense for Minnetonka wearing number 4. This one will roll all the way through to Olivia Rivera, the junior goalkeeper for the Royals. Of course, a lot of blue and white out on the field, so we should tell you it is Hopkins in the blue with the white stripes and Minnetonka in the all-white. Probably something we should have gotten clear before the first minute and a half had gone by.
Better late than never.
Throw in here for the Royals along the near sideline. Minnetonka trying to make it a sweep on the night. 5-0 in the boys' game here over Hopkins. Ball into the middle, but no one there to grab it. Ellie Holeski, center back for Hopkins, able to clear. And they will run out of play along the far side despite the effort of Amelia Carrizales, number 2 in blue, on the far side of the field. Got teams with the very similar jersey colors. Of course, they play close by. And to make matters worse, the head coach of Minnetonka's last name is Hopkins, just to throw everybody off. Jeff Hopkins, longtime head coach here at Minnetonka, very successful one as well.
Yeah, Jeff in his 13th year for the Skippers as the head girls coach. He was with the boys program for a few years as well. State titles in 2013 and 2018, so and multiple section titles as well. So a very successful run here for Jeff Hopkins.
Been to the state tournament 3 of the last 4 years, and the other year they lost 1-0 in overtime in the section final to Edina. So they have been at or near the top in section 2, which is a tough section, and it's going to be again this year. You've got Edina right there, also having good seasons, Chaska and Shakopee. So not an easy group to get out of. Hopkins, despite the fact that they're 3-5, of course this is assuming traditional section play, which is just a guess at this point. Hopkins may actually get a top 2 seed in their section, which is a little bit down this year. A team like Washburn is usually right up there at the top, and they're struggling a little more than they usually have. Wayzata should be the favorite in section 6.
Yeah, some really good games between Wayzata and Washburn in the last couple years. You know, Washburn with just some really exciting players the last few seasons.
They've always had a great program. And that's been a kind of a fun suburban city rivalry. That one's cleared. Should be the first corner, and it will be for Minnetonka. Nearly 4 minutes gone, and rolling over to take it is Alex Ditrick. Looking for the in-swinger off that right foot into a dangerous spot, and it did come off the head of Lissa Mizutani, who is the team's leading goal scorer this year with 3. And 2 of those came against Hopkins. She actually has not scored since that game. Had 3 in the first 2 matches of the year.
Really nice serve there by Ditrick on the corner kick, though. Into a real dangerous area for the Royals defense.
Off the knee of Megan O'Reilly. Hopkins able to keep at it, and O'Reilly back on it. Going to be a great test for Hopkins down the stretch, as they've got this one today. Only 2 more games after this. October 1st against Wayzata, and then they'll end the season on the 8th against Edina. Doesn't get any tougher than that. 3 teams all in the top 10 in the state. It is shepherded out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Minnetonka. Well defended, despite the efforts of O'Reilly, who you see there.
We were talking about it during the boys' game too, you know, about it's become cliche, but it's kind of true, is there are no easy games in this conference, really. And if you're a team like Hopkins that's kind of, you know, the talent level isn't maybe as high as some of those other teams, you really face a tough opponent almost every night. You know, obviously with some of the new teams that have come in now, I think, you know, maybe not some easier games, but some more competitive games potentially. But when you're talking about those Edina, Wayzata teams, the Royals really need to be on point all the time, and it's it's an uphill battle for them, I think, some nights.
Two seasons ago maybe is the biggest example of what you're talking about. Minnetonka won the state title, and they were a decided underdog in the championship game against a conference rival in Wayzata. Had beaten them twice during the regular season, and there was no guarantee Minnetonka would even get out of its section because Edina's there. And they got all the way through, and they had to survive about as hair-raising a state championship run as you can get. A couple of shootouts on the way. They've got something brewing here with Claire Carver, trying to roll it back to the middle for Mizutani. Dealt with nicely there by the defense. It was Elizabeth Norman with the clearance, and it's still in play along this near sideline. And that was held in play, at least just by the skin of the ball there on the right back, Ella Roach. Back now for Julia Delugash. On defense with Peyton Mahadi. Ella Dustrud, another senior. Everywhere you look in white, there are seniors. There is a foul against Minnetonka. Drawing it there, Avery Petty, one of the younger players in this game, just a freshman. Two freshmen on this Hopkins roster, one for Minnetonka. Toward the edge of the area, goes off the knee of O'Reilly. Stepping on the ball for a second was Mizutani, so the danger's still there. And here is Petty. Swinging it wide. Carrizales on that far side. Too many white shirts to deal with. Does earn the throw-in. Just over 7 minutes gone here in our opening half. No score between Hopkins and Minnetonka in the nightcap. That went off the head of a Hopkins player last, so it is a goal kick.
And Hopkins coach Justin Hegry said that Avery Petty has been their best offensive player this year so far, just a ninth grader, like you said. And, that's pretty big praise. If she has the talent right now, and he's saying she's one of their best offensive players, certainly look for good things from her in the future.
At any of these schools, because the Lake Conference schools are so big, so many players to choose from. If you're getting on the field as a freshman, and we have seen it in rare cases, 7th and 8th graders get out there, you know that you're onto something.
Absolutely. Yeah, very impressive, very difficult to do.
And then you get to those players when you're seniors and you do what we do, and we see these teams year in and year out, and you think, all right, she's still there, or he's still there, and they've been doing it forever.
Yeah, they seem like they've been there forever, and it's just when they start playing that young. But it's cool also to watch the progression, right? I mean, if a kid is that good as a freshman at a big school, how good is she going to be as a junior, as a senior? So it's fun to watch that too, as we watch these kids grow up, just like their coaches and their parents and their teammates do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the more enjoyable parts about calling these games is you almost kind of take a little bit of ownership over these players. You see them for so long, you don't really meet them per se, but you're so used to seeing them, and you like seeing, like you said, that progression.
Yeah, it's certainly a very enjoyable part of the job. You're right.
There is Petty. Couldn't get away there from Averin List, senior defender, and now Mizutani looking through the middle. Too many blue shirts there, and O'Reilly takes possession back. Petty operating out of the midfield now for Hopkins, looking for Carrizales on the long ball. And Mahadi gets there first off the feet of Carrizales, and another throw. So not a whole lot of chances so far in the early going. Just really the one off the corner that came off the head of Mizutani. See what happens if this game opens up at all. Throw in here for the Royals. And they'll earn a corner out of it as an awkward clearance attempt there from Lauren Ross. Tough ball to deal with, especially on the turf. So Elizabeth Norman will step up. And now Hopkins starting to, you see, on the set piece, committing some bodies forward. They really haven't been doing that from open play. Low driver. Sits in the box, and Mizutani able to clear it.
The set pieces could be very important, if things don't loosen up a little bit. It's been pretty tight so far, so the free kicks, the corner kicks could be where some of the chances will come from here if things don't open up a little bit.
Ball looked like it came up and struck a hand there. Ignored by the official as the referee's assistant on that far side was waving the flag. Couldn't tell which hand. It was in the box, so if it was Minnetonka, that would have been dangerous. Good shift put in here by Hopkins in the opening 10 minutes. They've started to really push the play forward. And a free kick here from 50 yards out. Josie Fieldman over it. That's a good ball.
Great ball.
Petty was attacking it, but a Minnetonka player got there first, and now they can try to counter. Hopkins does have plenty of numbers back, however. Played down the line by Lyle Warren. And a long ball here through for Carver. She can get it to settle down. She does. Good work by Carver. And the shot bobbled up on her at the last second, and Rivera able to claim it pretty easily in the end.
Great job by Carver to move that from the right foot to the left foot, settle it, and get the shot off. Didn't get a lot on the shot, but nice footwork there by Carver.
Swung wide by Mizutani. On the overlap now. Duster looking for the cross, and Rivera will come out off the foot. A little help there for Savannah Giesecke, the other freshman on this Hopkins roster. Here's Carver's chance.
Look at that, just really nice to chip the ball with her right foot over to her left foot to get the shot. Nice touch.
Maybe just the pressure of Holiski coming back to rush that shot a little bit. One more step, and she likely gets a much better chance at it.
Rivera right there in position too, though. Well done by her.
Popped up in the air by Warren. Ditrick through the middle for Carver again, and she'll once again do battle with Holiski. Now Warren. Carver again. Good ball movement here by Minnetonka, but it hops over the foot of Ditrick. O'Reilly cleared again by Roach. And out of play for a Minnetonka throw. One of the first things, if you watch soccer a bit, at every level, I think, especially in the first 10, 15 minutes, you might not see goals, you might not see the game open up, and we haven't seen this one yet, but you're always looking to see if the energy is there. And tonight, the energy is certainly there from both teams. So if you get a goal here in this game, it's going to really, I think, come alive.
Yeah, you know, with 40-minute halves, there's a bit of a feeling out process, I think, in all these games. But, yeah, certainly both teams with good energy, moving the ball well.
And some strong challenges there. You saw that on the far side with Averin List and Amelia Carrizales clattering into each other. Throw in here for Hopkins. Royals coming off a win in their last one, but that was, pardon me, on Tuesday against St. Michael Albertville. It's Minnetonka that hasn't played in a while. They win their last game also against St. Michael Albertville, but it was back on the 16th. So over a week without a match in a short season like this where everything's been compressed, that's got to feel like an eternity. This is what we've seen so far. A lot of battles in the midfield. Over the head of Mizutani. Cleared but out of play that time by Elise Wright, senior number 12 for Hopkins.
Neither team able to put, 2, 3, 4 passes together, which is why we're seeing a lot of challenges in the middle of the field and then the ball changing possession. Minnetonka's had its best success, it seems like, with some balls over the top and then having their forwards run under it.
Really just the one cutting edge chance there for Carver. And again, the defense was able to get back and at least rush the shot, even though it's still a good scoring opportunity. Hopkins' best chances have come off of set pieces so far. They've had some really good deliveries. Played long once again, this time by Lauren Ross. Looking for Carver. Held in nicely by Wright on this near side. Looking for somewhere to go with it is Fieldman.
can see Fieldman has some really nice touch there, good moves with her feet.
Battle here and a foul called against Minnetonka, so another set piece opportunity for Hopkins. Consider yourself the underdog in a game. These are always chances you look forward to. If you don't think you're going to have the better of the offensive play. Fieldman this time. Ball a little bit easier to deal with that time for Maddie Schultz. I think Fieldman would want that one back, but we saw on the first opportunity they had, the kind of ball she put in was very dangerous. She gets ahead to the restart as well. Now for Petty. That's a tough one to deal with for Carrizales on the far side, but does earn a throw out of it. So we're nearing the midway point of this first half. Charlie Beatty, Jason Malillo with you here on CCX Sports. Our great crew here for the doubleheader. Minnetonka looking for the sweep, Hopkins the split. A lot of those short area battles between these two teams. There's not been a lot of room even in the midfield area to spread out. The one chance we saw from Carver, I think that's what made it so surprising, is that she did have a little bit of space to make that move, and nobody's had that so far.
Yeah, the defenders on both sides just being very aggressive. You can see it right there, you know, overly aggressive in this case, but
well, a handball, actually.
Oh, handball, yeah.
But to your point, that one might have been another
That looked like another handball, yeah.
This one's let go. But to your point, what caused that handball is the fact that the defender, which I believe in that case was again Holeski, was right on Carver's back as soon as she accepts the ball. Here's a good one for Carrizales down that right wing. Able to cut it back to the middle. This is dangerous now for Hopkins, but the cross floats over the head of O'Reilly and drifts out of play. Good pullback, though, by Carrizales.
Very nice. Yeah, when the defenses are right on each other's, you know, on the offensive players' backs like that, nobody's able to turn, nobody's able to make a pass, so it's making a lot of these little battles in the middle of the field and nothing opening up or spreading out.
Well done by Mizutani to get it to the middle, but you saw right there, Dusterud had to take 5 steps towards her own goal first before she could think about making a play. That's the kind of ball pressure we've seen from both teams all night long. And Mizutani, I think, had that one hit her hand. So some turf bounces catching the Skippers in this first half. Another chance here for Hopkins. This time it will be Holeski who's going to tee it up. Floated toward the penalty spot. 5 or 6 players in the area, and it came out Hopkins' direction. That was kept in play along the far side by Ditrick. That was well done. She went skidding into her own bench. Now some speed down that far side for Minnetonka. This is Marley Bertignoli. And a good ball to the middle, and having to play it on the short hop was Rivera, and had to get that right because lurking right behind her was Carver once again. We haven't mentioned Marley Bertignoli, another offensive cog for this Minnetonka team. 3 goals on the season. She showed her wheels down that far side on that last stretch.
Yeah, very nice speed down the sideline there.
Nicely turned in the middle by Fieldman. Jason mentioned her feet a moment ago. He saw it again right there. Carver trying to drop it back off for Ditrick. It'll find Bertignoli. Once again has a chance to become involved. Tries it herself, and that was a shot that's got to be inch perfect from that distance. But when you don't have a lot of space, you get a tiny little crack, you go for it. She's right back on it again here. For a team that, of course, gave up 5 the first time these two teams played, Hopkins has not shown necessarily any intimidation coming out here. They've, especially defensively, gone toe-to-toe with a very good Minnetonka team.
Yeah, and just being so aggressive in the midfield.
Trying to create some chances themselves. Fieldman again. Once again, great turn by Fieldman, and has a crack at it. And that one deflected off the foot of Mahadi. And he is lucky that Maddie Schultz hadn't left early. She was there to prevent the OG. That's the second time we've seen a Hopkins player with that quick little pullback to get the ball to the middle. It was Carrizales on the far side, now Fieldman on the near side. And you've been talking about foot skills all night.
Yeah,
Fieldman on display.
Fieldman able to create her own little space there and get that shot off. You know, if she had gotten more on that, or if that had been deflected more.
Well, Rivera spills this one, but no one around. A long run to get to that ball. The junior Olivia Rivera has a little smile toward the bench about it.
Yeah, she looked a little awkward on that one, but it's all good, right? She makes
didn't go in. That's right. That's all that matters.
At least she could laugh about it.
I feel her pain. I played that position in high school myself, and sometimes you have to look awkward to keep it out of the net. But
keeping it out of the net is all that matters, you know.
I'm sure she can attest. You make a few saves with your face, doesn't matter. Another free kick opportunity here for Hopkins. They'd like to get these about 10 yards further upfield. These are just a little too far out to be really dangerous. This one sent in low and sent right back out again. And Carver, maybe the most space she's had all night as she picks it up. The long ball doesn't have a target. Closest player to it was Alex Ditrick, and she was 20 yards off. Mizutani. Roach, and she is stopped cold there by Fieldman.
Good challenge by Fieldman there.
This one kicks up for O'Reilly. Wants to go to the middle for Carrizales. O'Reilly again, and there you see the close down. That ball came up and hit a hand that looked extended, that time from a Hopkins player. And the whistle was going to come up. An advantage played by the official here. Long ball and a tough one to deal with for Holiski, and does get it out as far as Bertignoli, who's got a little room to run, and we've already seen that she can move. And this time the shot well wide. But she gets an inch. She's going to try it. Bertignoli, another one of those seniors.
Very fast first step by her. She just got under the shot a little bit.
First substitutions of the game. Abigail Hoyska coming in for Hopkins, number 21. Averin List with the header. Another ball that came up and hit an arm. We've seen a lot of officiating from the sidelines here. We've heard a lot of fans yelling for handball.
Yeah, a lot of near handballs there, or non-calls, I'm not sure, but
maybe one of the more misunderstood rules in sports is that it does have to be deliberate. Now, what deliberate actually is I think sometimes open for debate, but I can't say there have been any in this match that we've seen so far that have been blatantly missed. Mizutani's touchback found Fieldman, and she's got room to stretch the legs a little bit, trying to roll it through for the substitute Hoyska. And she will at least put enough pressure on to earn a throw for Hopkins.
Nice effort there.
And it's going to be at least right. Backing up into lane 3 to try the long throw. May have stepped over the line in doing it, but not spotted, and doesn't matter as Minnetonka able to clear. And there is their substitute, Gabby Ryan, their freshman, the only freshman on this Minnetonka roster, number 9, hands it off to Bertignoli. And again, she's got some room to move down that left-hand side, and she's proving to be a handful out there. 2 defenders, and they still haven't been able to get it away from her, and they'll have to give up the throw. 1-on-2, and Bertignoli making things happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be bad for the Hopkins defense to let her get up speed like that. They're going to have to step up and try and challenge her sooner, because once she gets going, she's dangerous.
Here's a cross from deep, looking for Mizutani, and Hopkins able to crowd it out. Mahadi stepping up. Mahadi maybe has come closer to a goal tonight than anybody else on this field. Unfortunately, it was her own net. It was that deflected ball a few moments ago. Alertly stopped by Maddie Schultz. Norman away from Bertignoli that time, and it's going to be Norman's job most of the night. It looks like that right back for Hopkins to deal with that speed of Bertignoli. One back here now by Ditrick. Looking for Ryan. Not a whole lot of options back there. Throw in Minnetonka with 13:20 remaining in this opening half. There's Gabby Ryan, the freshman. And the throw in here for Roach. Cross by Ryan, and that is a good one. Touched away, and Bertognali was there. And luckily also was Annika Firehammer, the senior captain for Hopkins, to make that play. And now they're off on a counter. Carrizales. Speaking of players who are a handful when they can get the speed up. Near side now is Charlotte Lee. Not a whole lot on here for Hopkins as the counterattack is slowed down some. Fieldman looking for Carrizales. Not a bad ball, but a little too far out in front of the run.
Yeah.
Here's that cross a second ago, and that's a good ball from the freshman.
Great ball. Rivera gets the hand on it, which I think just threw off the timing a little bit. Allowed the Royals to clear it. And you're right, Charlie. The counter the other way looked really good. They had great speed, and then it just kind of bogged down, and they didn't make it as close to the skipper's goals I think they wanted to.
There's Bertognali again with Firehammer out there. I think I said it was Norman out in the right back spot, but it's actually Firehammer. I think everybody's going to have to deal with Bertognali at some point tonight.
Yeah, you were talking about the game opening up. I think Bertognali is that type of player that has the ability to make the game open up a little bit, and I think that's what she's trying to do right now.
Yeah, I think we are seeing it stretch it one way, and as we saw with the Hopkins counter, it'll, of course, stretch back the other way as well. There's a cross from Bertognali, and Rivera able to control it with Minnetonka players lurking around. When you play a top 10 team, you know you're going to need a good game out of your goaltender, and a couple balls in the last few minutes that Rivera has had to deal with that have not necessarily been extremely dangerous. The cross we just talked about would fit into that category, but just enough where she's got to get it right. And there's another good ball. Roach looking for the cross, and this one won't get past the near post as she was closed down nicely. That high-pressure defense paying off again for the Royals.
We were talking about it in the boys' game earlier about the pros and cons of a goalie being aggressive in certain situations, and when he or she needs to be aggressive, and when is kind of the right time to do that, when's the wrong time to do it, how do you time it, and it can make a big difference. The Hopkins boys got caught flat-footed against Tonka early in that game, and their goalie maybe could have been a little more aggressive on some of the goals they gave up, but it's always a fine line.
Yeah, the rule of thumb for a goaltender is really you can't come out for something that you don't know you're going to get. And even if you just get a hand to it, like we saw Rivera do just a moment ago, to at least throw off that timing and allow Firehammer to do the rest. Fieldman can't keep it in play.
And a lot of times if you hesitate, you're done. A lot of times you hesitate, you're burned. So it really has to be a concise decision by the keeper for sure.
And that's one of those things that really comes with, seeing those crosses thousands of times, which high school goaltenders just haven't done yet. They are still learning that, what's the ball you can get to, what's the one you can't.
Well, and you have so few high school players who can make a really deadly cross, right? So even in games, even if they've played many games, there might only be a handful of players that can make a real good cross.
Knotted down by Roach and cleared out by List. Under 10 to go in this scoreless, but certainly not uneventful first half. You see Justin Hegre, at least the back of his head. Front looks like a mask at the moment, as the coaches all have to wear. Played towards the middle. This is Hoyska, who's been very active since coming on, using those fresh legs. Looking for an option here. Fieldman again looking for that killer turn. This time couldn't get away from Lyle Warren. Far side, the substitute O'Reilly coming back on a moment ago, taking the place of Carrizales. Hoyska unable to get to that one now. Mizutani ahead for Ryan, and another nice turn by Ditrick. And a good ball here. Bertignoli's got around the corner as Ryan in the middle, and Rivera alertly at her near post stops the cross.
Yeah, the Hopkins defender got caught flat-footed there. Bertignoli right by her, and nice job by Rivera to cut off that cross again. I think Hopkins is living dangerously, letting Bertignoli get space like that. They're going to have to cut down on that in the second half, because that's going to burn him eventually, I think.
And that was another one of the best chances we've seen so far. Likely doesn't go down as a shot on goal, because that looked like a cross from Bertignoli, but either way, it's a key play, as we just talked about, for a goaltender. That situation may be a little more straightforward than some others. You know you've got to stop that cross because you're not going to get to the back post. Ball looked like it came out and did. There's Ryan. Came on with some big shoes to fill because Claire Carver had a great start. And Ryan has not dropped off the offensive pressure at all. Here's a good intervention by O'Reilly, and now Hoyska in a foot race with Peyton Mahadi. His only option is to put it out for a throw. Monica Firehammer will trigger it in. And that's going to be a throw from about as deep as you can get. Just rolled on the right side of the corner flag. Off a skipper head that time. Another throw here for Hopkins. Trying to make something out of this with under 6 minutes to play in the first half. And that one delivered straight to Mahadi. Try it for a fifth time here. They will get out of that corner eventually, but Firehammer's getting quite a bit of practice. And once again, she finds Mahadi. And eventually cleared long for Ryan. Couldn't get up higher than the opposite number 9, Holiski. Off the side of the foot there for Warren and out of play. Another Hopkins throw-in. Fieldman wanted it quickly, didn't get it. Now has it from Hoyska. Crossfield ball, Bertignoli waiting for it. Dust drew down the overlap, the long ball, all the way through to Rivera again. Just the one striker up front for Minnetonka. They are very compact behind her. You'll see it in this shot right here. As the 9 of the 10 outfield players within 20 yards of each other, and then Ryan all by herself up front. counting on a striker to be able to hold up the ball to allow the rest of the attackers to catch up.
That's maybe the reason things are starting to bog down in the middle there, I would imagine.
CC Ashheim, pardon me, coming in.
Number 2, Amelia Carrizales.
And Amelia Carrizales returning, taking the place of Charlotte Lee. And now Minnetonka maybe with something brewing. There weren't a whole lot of numbers back for Hopkins, but it is cleared. That was Savannah Giesecke, the freshman defender. Last option back. There you see number 13. Bertignoli trying to free herself along that far side and does keep it alive. Here's List. Eventually lost out. Carrizales. Mahadi with the long ball. Rivera has that one easily, although maybe played the hops wrong. Norman for Hopkins. In a crowd and one back by the Skippers again. Looking for a late goal here in this first half. Ashheim couldn't bring it in. Throw in for the Hopkins Royals, who, of course, is the team you would think, as we've talked about them, maybe a little bit of the underdog coming in here tonight. Would not want to give up anything here in the final 2:40. They've played very well in this first half.
Yeah, very nice showing for the Royals. And you wouldn't say they've played back on their heels, you know? I mean, they've been aggressive, and it's not like they're lucky to have it scoreless.
I would agree with you there. Said it earlier, but these two teams have really just gone toe-to-toe tonight. And the defending has been the most aggressive part of it both ways. Not a lot of space for any attacking player. It's what's made some of those runs from Bertignoli down that left-hand side really stand out. This one comes back out. Bertognali had an opportunity. Put back into a dangerous spot by List, but Hopkins once again able to deal with anything that comes their way so far. Giesecke and Ryan, two freshmen dueling. Good ball movement here by the Skippers. And that one a little bit wayward from Ditrick. Carrizales lost out on the near side. Fieldman, though, has been everywhere for Hopkins in this first half. You'd think if they're going to get something out of this in the second half, keep an eye on the numbers 10 and 2. As they have certainly been at the heart of things.
1 minute remaining in the first half.
And here is Fieldman again. Two white jerseys gravitate towards her pretty much at all times.
Yeah, they're really closing down on her fast.
Petty trying the back heel. That's a long ball to really no one in particular from Averin List, and 41 seconds remaining in the half. Be interesting to see if anything changes tactically for these teams coming out for the second half. Both coaches have really gotten it right so far.
Yeah, and you would think Hopkins really doesn't want to change anything tactically. You know, this has worked well for them, kind of bottling things up and limiting chances. And I think maybe they'll continue to do that in the second half and then just hope that they get that odd chance, or they get a set piece chance, or even maybe a foul in the box and they get a penalty kick, you know, so they can get a goal. And if they can keep Minnetonka off the scoreboard, that might be enough if things stay tight through the second half.
Well, they've kept them off the scoreboard through 40. No one on the board through 40 minutes, but some good entertainment as Minnetonka and Hopkins dueling to a draw through the first half of play. We'll be back with a little bit more here at halftime on CCX Sports.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Scoreless here at halftime from Hopkins. And despite the scoreline, there were opportunities in that first half for these two teams. Good entertainment between the Royals and the Skippers, two teams that have played it pretty even over the last handful of years. As we take a look at the Lake Conference standings, Edina, Wayzata, Minnetonka, we talked about it right there at the top. Those are the three teams that are really going to battle it out for the title, but Hopkins right down there in that next tier and proving to be a dangerous opponent tonight.
Yeah, you know, like we said, I mean, just a tough climb with those top three teams. They're always good. They're always talented. You know, we've had some years where Hopkins has some really good talent, and they're challenging those teams. But yeah, it's tough with those three teams always in the mix for state titles, really.
And we mentioned they're going to play all three of them here down the stretch, so a chance to be the ultimate spoiler. And so far, in this first match of that tough trio of matches for Hopkins, so good. They have been very good defensively, held Minnetonka off the board. Let's take a look at how we got here throughout this first half visually. And again, no goals on the board, but some opportunities, and started early with the set pieces for both teams. As there you saw Alyssa Mizutani missing just wide. This is maybe the best opportunity of that first half for Minnetonka. Carver getting that chance just closed down at the last second.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, Claire Carver, a really nice move there to get a shot attempt.
Saw some of the individual skills for Hopkins as well. First it was Carrizales. The ball didn't find anyone, but the move was good. And the long-range efforts this time, that was the awkward save we talked about. Sorry, Olivia, but she did keep it out of the net.
Yeah, she did well. Very aggressive on a lot of the crossing attempts by the Skippers.
Did very well on this one, Rivera.
Yes.
That's a tough ball to deal with and made the right play, and Firehammer did the rest. Yep. This is the other really dangerous chance for Minnetonka, and it was Marley Bertignoli all half long, and Rivera made sure that ball didn't get across to Gabby Ryan.
Yeah, Bertognali, I mean, obviously just the most skilled offensive player on the field in that first half. And like I said, I mean, the Royals did a great job defensively, particularly in the middle of the field, but they can't let her get space in the second half, because she's going to make things happen. She's going to cross the ball in. She's one of those kids we talked about who can really serve nice crosses into the box, and somebody's going to finish one of those off eventually.
And you talked about set pieces being a possibility for Hopkins in that first half. You see the foul count there, 5-0. Not all those were physical fouls, some handballs in there as well. But if that continues, Hopkins may find themselves with some chances to get that first goal on the board. We will see what happens when we come back. We are scoreless at the half between Minnetonka and Hopkins on CCX Sports.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all three of our channels live. You'll also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Ready for the start of the second half here on CCX Sports. Charlie Beatty, Jason Malillo upstairs. No score between these two teams. They will swap ends. Hopkins will go from left to right here in this second half, and they will start with the ball. Once we have one, now we do. And then it will be the freshman Avery Petty to get us going. Let's see what this second half has in store after tightly played first half. Josie Fieldman, central to everything Hopkins does out there, and they earn the throw on the far side, at least right at the left back spot, knocking it off Mizutani. And Hopkins coming out with an attack mindset. You can tell.
Sometimes in these really tight games, Charlie, you'll see a quick goal early in the second half when the first half has been really tight. One team comes out a little flat-footed, the other one jumps on it. So maybe we'll see that. One goal, or the first goal, will be pretty big in a tight game like this.
And Hopkins trying to make it happen here as they set it up for Carrizales. Long-range effort, but an easy catch in the end for Matty Schultz, and that was Fieldman with the shot. We haven't talked about Schultz being tested too much. We did mention the ball she stopped off the foot of her own defender. But that's another tough one. You talk about that in hockey maybe more than soccer, because you see those goalies go maybe a period without a whole lot of chances, and all of a sudden you've got a breakaway, and they're just not ready for it. Soccer goalies may be a little bit more used to the inactivity. Free kick here for Hopkins. We saw in the graphic at halftime, they played a foul-free first half. And very impressive considering we talked about how aggressively they were pushing up and playing defense. Do that without fouling is certainly worth noting.
Very impressive, yeah. And that just shows you, you can play hard, aggressive defense and not foul. It doesn't have to, the two things don't have to coincide.
Ball belongs to the Skippers. Here is Bertignoli. How no one fouled her at any point in that first half is beyond any of us, because she did really put on a display down that left-hand side.
Nice ball movement there by the Skippers.
Once again, the numbers back for Hopkins to deal with it. It's cleared into the heavily socially distanced bench for the Royals. There aren't a whole lot of players on it, and they still have about 50 chairs. Take your pick.
I'm not even sure you can call it a bench anymore.
Reserve area? I don't know. Take your pick.
The holding pen?
The holding pen. I don't think we'll go with that. Points for creativity, however.
Thank you.
Moving up here is Charlotte Lee. Trying to work some magic with Petty, but Everin List shuts that down. And Holiski and Carver, who have been joined at the hip really all game, at least when Carver's been in there.
Hard collision there.
Another long ball. Rivera will wait for the hop as she has plenty of time. We're starting to see a lot more jostling here early in the second half as the intensity picks up. Isaki's clearance out off the legs of Claire Carver. Maybe tough to keep that foul count low here in the second half as these two teams really start to battle.
Yeah, they're going to have to obviously continue to be aggressive, so you'll probably see some fouls. You see there some aggressive play.
Petty,
the Royals come away with it.
Trapped underneath her for a second, actually worked to their advantage. Off the knee of Firehammer. Petty waits for the bounce. Long ball aimed in the direction of Mizutani, and once again Giesecke is there to deal with it, and it stays in play for Hopkins. Down the line they're looking for Lee, who's playing as the striker here to start the second half for Hopkins. Came on as a substitute on the wing in the first half. Mentioned a relatively short bench for Hopkins. They really only have three options there. And so Justin Hegre shuffling the deck a little bit up top to give everybody the breather they need. Minnetonka, certainly a lot more players available on the bench. They haven't used very many. We've really only seen one or two substitutions for the Skippers. That's always fascinating to see how coaches play that at the youth and high school and even college levels, where you do have much more free substitutions open for you. Some coaches just don't use it. They let their players kind of play that the professional style or the international style where you play 70 minutes and then maybe you're done for the day.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the boys' game, you know, in which Minnetonka had a significant lead for most of the game. Were they going to pull their starters? Would they leave their starters in? And, you know, there's an argument either way. But, you know, we were saying you want to pull them because you don't want to run up the score. You want to risk injury. But at the same time, you got to make sure that your players have the fitness to be able to go 70, 75 minutes, because that's what they're going to have to do in close games or section games, playoff games. You know, so you want to make sure that they're fit enough and are used to going those longer games rather than pulling them out and subbing in for them.
And of course, no extra time in these regular season games, and there's so much we don't know about what postseason will look like. Will everybody even be part of it? It's only about 2 weeks budgeted for the postseason. The soccer season is really supposed to end by the end of October.
Here comes Fieldman.
And once again, she's able to shrug off a challenge, but the second one nicely pulled off by Ella Roach, and she does get the clearance.
We haven't called her name much here early in the second half. She's first time she's been able to get some space.
But getting back to what we were talking about, it of course is a possibility that there would be extra time in playoff games if you need it. They may go straight to penalty shootouts, who knows. But fitness levels, if you have to go 90 or 110 minutes, or 100 minutes, I guess it wouldn't be any longer than that. Are the players going to be ready to do that? And of course the counter argument is, yeah, they're young, they'll get used to anything, but if you haven't done it, your body adjusts so quickly to these things.
Yeah,
the limit is 80, the limit is 80.
Right. Yeah, I think you have to, you know, especially in a season like this where, I mean, everything's so unknown and they don't have as many regular season games to even get in shape, you know. Most I think most teams, you know, they try to progress up to the playoffs. They're at their best, they're at their highest fitness, their highest skill level when sections comes around. But in this situation, there's just so many unknowns and it's so different. I think you probably want to let your best players get in as many minutes as possible.
Last whistle was for a handball against Charlotte Lee. She's got another opportunity now. Yeah, there never maybe was a high school season where you needed to get off to a quicker start more than this one because it was over so fast, or will be over so fast. And that's just soccer. Just wait till football starts and they have a 6-game regular season. You get behind the 8 ball and you're 0-2. It's curtains pretty much from that point on.
Yeah, the football season is going to go so fast, and you know, with an unknown playoff format.
Hopkins really has had the better of the play here to start this second half. Mentioned they've come out aggressive. We're 9 minutes in now, and they really haven't had much to do in their own half. Bottled up along that far sideline, the overhead. I believe that came off the foot of Wright on that far side. She did get a free kick here, and we mentioned in the first half that Hopkins wanted their set pieces to be a little closer. Well, here you go. Options to pick out for Fieldman. And another ball into a really good spot. Bobbles down in the box and able to scramble out to grab it was Maddie Schultz. That was exactly what the Royals were looking for, and they just couldn't quite get that final foot to it. Fans screaming for handball again there. Norman's hand was basically on her collarbone. You're never going to get that call from that close.
Tonka into Hopkins' end for first time this half, really. Maybe first or second time.
And they really haven't been able to do anything once they've gotten there. Just saw the best chance of the second half a few seconds ago off that set piece. And Minnetonka, this is a team that over the last 4 years has won over 50 games in 4 seasons. Their record, including the win earlier this year against Hopkins since 2016, is 5-4. So this has not been a one-sided matchup by any means, even though Minnetonka has had much more success during the season. Only one of those years, and that was 2 years ago when they won the state title, were they even 2-0 against Hopkins. Back in 2016, Minnetonka was a state tournament team. They lost both games against the Royals. Certainly Hopkins proving to not be an easy out once again tonight. In the second half, they look like the team that wants it a little more so far. They have another free kick here. That ball was certainly not still, it was bouncing. So Holeski will have to try it again. Goes long this time. Charlotte Lee with a flick on. That's a great ball, but no one making the run for the Royals. Bertignoli yet to really affect the game in the second half the way she could in the first half. Long ball from Mizutani. This is better here for Minnetonka. And the long range shot, watching it wide is Olivia Rivera. Alex Ditrick with the chance.
Bertognali did get loose down the sideline there a moment ago, and I believe it was Elizabeth Norman for Hopkins who came over and angled her off, took the ball away, and got the goal kick for the Royals.
Well, they really limited her space so far. Here she is on the ball. Crossfield for Mizutani, couldn't read the hop. Right with the long ball over the head of Lee and Mahadi. Finally knocked out of there, but only for a second. Minnetonka back on it, Bertignoli. Up the line goes Dustrud, but comes right back at her. And now Carrizales with a little bit of space for Hopkins. Lee, she has been really an X factor here in the second half for the Royals and earns another throw-in. We barely mentioned Charlotte Lee's name in the first half. She didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but she started the second half up front. And so far, you'd have to say it's changed the game a little bit.
Yeah, she's been, I think, the most effective player for Hopkins in close there.
And a free kick here for Hopkins as Norman was felled. And she'll take it herself. This time, Fieldman going forward and pointing to where she wants it at the moment.
Good
Driven ball by Norman, and it is knocked out of there very nicely by Schultz. That's a tough one to deal with.
That was a great ball by Norman.
Petty, good turn. And Schultz able to catch it and keep it in play, avoiding the corner. From that angle, very hard to tell. It didn't look like it necessarily would have gone in, but Schultz didn't know that. And to get both palms to it.
That's a dangerous ball.
Now Carver. Bertognali finally with a little bit of room, and this is where she's dangerous. Able to get going down this sideline. And the pullback dealt with once again. Carrizales on for Fieldman.
Again, nice footwork there by Fieldman, but you see Hopkins isn't able to transition really quickly there when they need to.
Trying to once again is Lee taking off down this right-hand side, and Mahadi able to angle her off the ball, and despite the effort, it is a goal kick. Lee in this second half has really given Mahadi and Lugash, the two defenders for Minnetonka, something to think about. Gabby Ryan coming back on, taking the place of Claire Carver. And Hoyska comes in. And Lee is going to move to the wing here.
I thought Lee was about to come off there, but
it's like Carrizales, who doesn't look like she's fully right on this sideline, limping a little bit.
Yeah, she looks like she's a little banged up there, right leg maybe. Hands on her knees now, resting.
Looking for the through ball that time for Megan O'Reilly, and just an inch off. Carrizales come out in the first half. Thought I saw a little bit of the same thing, so of course we never know, but she might be dealing with something that was an injury before this game even started. Flag is up on the far side. Official hasn't noticed it. Not sure exactly what the referee's assistant wanted there. I believe maybe an offside, but doesn't matter now. Hoyska. Here's Petty. And then Lee. Good control by Hopkins. Firehammer. Lee once again. That was really well read by Bertignoli, who made the run before Lee did and drew the foul. I believe that is the first foul called against Hopkins in this match.
It is. No, second, I apologize. They had one earlier this half.
And that will be one against Ditrick. Undercutting Firehammer going up for the header. It's going to be an eventful final 23.5 minutes here. Right now it's Minnetonka trying to play the counterattack against Hopkins. This one lobbed up and from our angle looked maybe more dangerous than it was. Schultz wasn't too worried about it. Minnetonka now trying to build out of the back. Long ball from List. Looking for Bertognali, but not on target. There you see Bertognali pick up the ball, and right on there with the forearm in the back is the defender Firehammer, just making sure she feels wherever Bertognali is trying to move.
And then as soon as Firehammer has to release, another player comes in to play Bertognali. They're just not giving her any space to operate, which is very smart, forcing her out there.
The third defender is the sideline in that situation. Well, I'm guessing they knew what she could do before this game even started, but if they didn't, they learned in the first half, and they've adjusted very nicely.
They have, yeah. Very impressed by the way Hopkins has played. You know, obviously it's still 0-0. They haven't dominated the game by any means, but I would say at least in the second half that they've been the better team so far now.
Well, they come into this game with a record of 3-5, but you have to think with the way we've seen them play tonight in any other conference, this is not a 3-5 team at all.
I would agree.
It's just a lot of tough teams to deal with, and they've had to play them all so far. But you could just watch this match tonight and think, come playoff time, I wouldn't want to play this team. But however, a penalty here as Ryan goes down in the box, and what a tough break for the Royals.
Well, we said it might come down to a foul in the box and a penalty kick, and that's what we're going to have here.
A team that did not commit a foul in the first half with a key one there, and have to see the replay to see who exactly gave it away, but it's going to be Lissa Mizutani. The game winner against St. Michael Albertville in their last game from the spot here, and drills it. 1-0 Skippers in a half where maybe they've been the team that's been on the back foot, but they take the chance they get.
Yeah, and you got to see how Hopkins is going to react here now. You know, they outplayed the Skippers this entire second half, but they give up the goal on the penalty kick.
Third of the year for Mizutani. Here's the finish. There was no doubt about that.
Rivera guesses the right way, but can't make the save.
We'll try to take a look at the foul again at some point here just to see exactly what happened, but it looked like Ryan just got the ball just poked away from the defender on her, and a foot left in just a hair too long. But here's a dangerous opportunity as O'Reilly attacking, and Ball from Fieldman just a little too far out in front. Here's the foul. And it was actually, you know what, a very tough call there against Ellie Holiski because she played the ball and then Ryan went over her foot afterwards. So you know what? If you're Hopkins, you might have a problem with that. It's a tough break for the senior captain.
Yeah, I would certainly not fault my player for making that play. Just a good aggressive play, but in the wrong place, and it leads to the penalty kick and the 1-0 lead for the Skippers.
Foul here against Hopkins. Free kick for Minnetonka, so dangerous couple minutes here for the Royals. Don't want to see your heads drop. Certainly it is kind of the lottery of the penalty kick that has put them behind, but they have been so good in this second half. You don't want to see them or see that go to waste if you're a Hopkins fan. Mahadi goes for the shot, misses wide on the far side.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I mean, that can be so demoralizing for a team, right? I mean, you've played so well. You've outplayed your opponent for, you know, more than 20 minutes, and then one foul gives the penalty kick, and you're down a goal in a game where obviously there's not going to be a lot of goals, you know? So it's you got to see how they react here. They need to have a really solid next couple minutes, get back to what they were doing, get back to playing in the Skippers' end.
And even a foul where, as we saw the second look at it, and again, this is an official who has to watch it live and make that call. We get the benefit of a second look, so we don't want to pile on here, but that may be one where, if you watch it again, you'd say, I'm not sure that is a foul. There wasn't a big protest from the Hopkins players, but they also reacted as if it was a good defensive play because you saw Holiski, who gave it away, didn't really do anything. She cleared the ball and she kind of kept moving, and then all of a sudden a penalty going the other way. But here's a corner for Hopkins.
Yeah, if this was the NFL, I think Coach Hegre might have thrown the challenge flag on that foul, but it is what it is.
You don't even need that in soccer at the professional level, of course. The VAR just does it for you. Norman will take the corner. Low driven ball to the near post, and it's poked just wide. Well, that was dangerous and interesting to see who that touched last. It looked like it was Hoyska in the middle who got up off the bottom of the pile, and she'd love to see that one more time. Inches wide for the Royals. Certainly one of their best chances of the game, and we've seen it all game long. And another set piece there. We saw it in the first half. They get chances off of those plays. Really makes you think, if you're a Minnetonka player, we have to play foul-free within 35 yards from goal, or we're causing ourselves a problem here tonight. Here's Ryan, who drew what is at the moment the difference in this game, the penalty. Lugach, and into the Hopkins bench. We mentioned don't let your heads drop if you're Hopkins, and we've now been 3 or 4 minutes since the goal, and I don't think I've seen any of that. They are right back after it.
I think you're right, yeah.
And of course they were inches away from tying the game a second ago anyway. Right back on the attack as well. They have controlled this portion of the field. They do have a substitution coming on as Amelia Carrizales is going to come back in.
Re-entering the game for the Royals,
Megan O'Reilly will make way.
Amelia Carrizales.
Lee once again causing problems up there, and Hopkins able to win it back. given away to Mizutani. That's left there here for Ryan. Good recovery by Holiski, but the bounce goes Hopkins' way, and now we've got a collision as Firehammer and Ryan were both going for that ball, and good to see Firehammer pop up. She hit the ground hard. I would imagine she'll have to come off the field here for a second just to be safe, but these are scary.
Head-to-head contact there, or head-to-face, I suppose.
I'm amazed, actually, that Ryan walked away from it because she felt it as well. So there will be a substitution here. Anna Lorenzer is going to come into the game for the first time. And again, really good to see Firehammer, who's played a very nice game, walk off the field under her own power and appears to be no worse for wear, but they're going to check her out thoroughly.
Nothing malicious on that, you know, just both girls going hard for the ball.
Yeah, this is, don't believe a foul. I think it's just an uncontested drop ball.
Entering the game for the Royals, number 11, Anna Lorenzer.
Lorenzer is in for the first time here in the final 15 minutes, and she'll step up to take the throw. Trying to dig herself out along this near sideline was Lee. Throw in goes to Minnetonka. I won't speak for you, Jason, but I was not present for the first meeting for these two teams. But watching this game tonight, it's hard to believe that the first result was 5-1 in favor of Minnetonka.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the first one either, but yeah, I mean, you would never know. If you didn't know that had been the score in the first game, you would never figure it. And you know, Coach Hegre said it. I mean, he told me before the game, he thinks his team has changed a lot, even though that was only, you know, a few weeks ago. He thinks his team has improved a lot since then, grown up a lot, learned a lot. So it's definitely a different Hopkins team tonight.
It certainly shows, and again, it's a hard luck way to be behind at this point. Only have 13 minutes to do something about it. Mizutani able to escape there. That's a good ball across. And unable to get around it and get a shot away was Tatum Starito, number 19. Goal scorer in the first meeting with these two teams. And again, we haven't seen her at all tonight. Just came in. Believe she may have, well, pardon me, Ryan is still out there. I thought Ryan may have exited after that head-to-head collision. Because there you see Firehammer on the sidelines, and she looks like she's ready to go.
Yeah, I was still talking to the trainers there, but probably lobbying to go back in, I would imagine, in a game like this where she's played well and where it's so close.
Foul here against Josie Fieldman. List will trigger it in. Right back to Fieldman, and Hopkins looking for the counter.
Nice move by Fieldman.
A lot of players in this game that I wouldn't want to see running at me with a lot of space around them, because there's some tricky footwork and there's some more of it from Fieldman. Not sure if she knows the cameras are on or not, but they've caught both of those and they were very impressive. Throw in here for Minnetonka with 11:15 remaining in the match. Skippers on the Mizutani penalty have the lead. Petty, if she'd been able to keep that a little closer to her, might have had an opportunity to go for goal. Instead, it's a long ball, and Ryan's going to chase after it. Rivera out playing sweeper keeper. It's Mizutani. If she can get the ball to settle down, may have a chance to fire away, but by the time she did, Rivera was well back in position. Hoyska has had the best chance of the game for Hopkins so far. On that corner a few moments ago, right after the goal. And we saw that replay maybe very quickly. We didn't talk about that one very much, but that's a ball that gets on you so quickly. You have no time to shape that shot. And some people might ask, how do you miss from there? But when you don't know it's coming to you.
Yeah, it's kind of a scrum in there, and it looked to me on that replay that she didn't get it off her foot. She got it off kind of her knee or the kind of upper part of her leg, and it's obviously hard to aim a shot like that, direct a shot like that. You know, you're in so close, you're just hoping to put it on goal and it'll find its way in. But
just the wrong side of the post, and that's the breaks in a sport like this. Lorenzer. Petty was looking up the line for Lee. Norman with the strong clearance. And now Lee giving chase. But Lugac had the angle and puts it out of play, and safety for Minnetonka. Another throw in, another chance here for Lorenzer. Turning is Hoyska, looking for the cross. No blue shirts in there. And there's Fieldman again, just so conscious of where everyone is around her. It's a very cultured play that she just made. Very subtle, but the purists would appreciate that. And there's a foul called against Minnetonka.
Well, and Fieldman just able to make, you know, that one touch to free up some space and then make a play. It's just very, her soccer knowledge and her soccer IQ, for lack of a better term, is pretty impressive.
Flick on there, looking for Petty. Petty and Carrizales on that far side trying to make something happen, but Minnetonka's had some pretty good defensive shape for the last 10 minutes or so. 7:50 remaining. Firehammer about to come back into the game.
Re-entering the game for the Royals, number 3, Annika Firehammer.
A key player for them, wearing the captain's armband, but mainly just good to see that no ill effects from that head-to-head collision. Especially for her, because she had the clash of heads and then came down and it looked like her head snapped back. The replay we saw didn't look like she actually hit the ground at the back of her head, but usually that's where the concussions happen.
You know, a moment ago there, Charlie, Norman kind of hesitating with the ball and then not getting a real good hit on it. I'm wondering if Hopkins would be better to just try and play those balls into the middle and try and have some of their forwards run under it.
Certainly no harm, especially at the high school level. Just put your opponents under pressure in their own penalty area and see what happens, especially with just a few minutes left in the game.
Yeah, a few minutes left, you're down 1, you know, I mean, play those balls into the box, have your players try and run under them.
Lee, good pressure here, and Hoyska helping out as well. Wanted to go back to Lee, and that was shut down very nicely by Mahadi. Bertignoli with a good turn. List had to lunge for it. Lee wins possession back for the Royals. Long ball ahead for Hoyska. Barged in the back by Mahadi, and another free kick here for Hopkins. Will be Fieldman. Norman took the last one and went for goal. This one a little bit further out.
It's a big one for Hopkins.
Toward the edge of the area. List got ahead to it, slows it down. Carrizales on that far side, and she is moved off the ball by Maggie Ravine, number 22. Seeing Minnetonka get some of those substitutes in here late. and at a key time in the game. Norman. Another long ball this time from Holiski, looking for Hoyska. Schultz with the clearance. Ryan the flick, Firehammer right back into the mix. A bit of a miss kick there, and might line up here for Petty. Big ricochet, and then taking it first time was Hoyska. I like the idea. Execution wasn't there, but a good step up on the far side by Wright. Now Carrizales, Wright. Trying to make some space for the cross. Still on it here, Elise Wright. And that was a pretty good work by the left back, but in the end, it's an easy save for Schultz. Now, the will is certainly there for Hopkins. They have not given up anything in this second half, despite the gut punch of the penalty.
And you see a lot of players, a lot of different players, you know, really trying to make something happen for the Royals. Everybody trying to get involved, you know, one shot, one goal, so.
Right now, they've got a tricky one to deal with in their own half. And eventually they do. Hoyska couldn't turn with that. Ravine out of the middle for the goal scorer, Mizutani. Be the second straight 1-0 victory for Minnetonka, with Mizutani scoring both goals if the result holds. Minnetonka, in 3 of their 4 wins, has kept the shutout. The only one that they have not was the Hopkins game. Push here and a foul. Goes against Minnetonka with 3:19 remaining. Hoyska, one of the many Royals jogging forward to try to get on the end of this. It will be Holiski who puts it in play toward the edge of the area. Takes a bounce, and Hoyska's side foot volley was probably on target, but not a whole lot behind it. Take a look at the upcoming schedule. Some swimming tomorrow, and back at the soccer next week. SPA in Providence, Elk River and Maple Grove with a doubleheader on Thursday, and then they'll wrap it up Tuesday the 6th. St. Louis Park at Cooper, another doubleheader. Mass substitutions here for Minnetonka, getting I think some starters back in the game. Carver coming back on, Ditrick coming back on. There you see Warren. So they'll try to finish out with the starting group in the final 2:40.
Skipper's probably thinking they'll try to lock it down here for the last 2.5 minutes. Perhaps even get an insurance goal.
Bertignoli trying to make that happen, but it's off of her, and Hopkins will not waste any time getting this back in. Cleared by Mahadi. Bertignoli will let that one run, and she may take some time. Triggers it back in quickly, looking for Carver. And Holiski defending well. May have earned a foul, and did in the corner. Official waiting to see if there was any advantage. There wasn't. But time running out here on Hopkins. Down to 1:40. Fieldman looking for the flick on. Petty does get it. Firehammer, they're going to have to start throwing bodies forward here, Hopkins. Hoyska keeps it in play along this near side. Mahadi, shoulder to shoulder in the corner. That's a good challenge by the defender, and Hoyska couldn't do anything with it.
Hoyska really trying to earn the corner kick there.
Down to the final minute. Bertignoli. Cleared by Mahadi again. Goes to the far side. Mizutani is there. Mizutani loses out as 2 Royals in the area. Now right. Gizeki, the freshman, lost it. And Minnetonka could just play it toward the corner. Hustling after it is Carver, and she'll just keep it right there if she can. Able to cut back to the middle. Not a bad ball in. Norman knocked it down. Only 22 seconds remaining. One last heave here for Hopkins. They get it to Hoyska, trying to send Lee off to the races if she can get to it. She cannot, and that will probably do it for the Royals here with 10 seconds remaining. Minnetonka does not really need to put this back into play in any hurry. They get it to Bertignoli, and they will move to 5-2 on the season, will the number 9 ranked Skippers, but it was certainly not easy, Jason, tonight. This Hopkins team put up quite the fight, and a bad break is really the difference between the 2 teams tonight. Yeah,
hard-fought game, all the way around, and I think if you're Hopkins, maybe you look back on this a couple days from now, you're pretty happy. A pretty impressive game, and you could say that the Royals outplayed the Skippers for large stretches of this game. And Hopkins is a pretty young team, and you look at Hoyska and Lee, both sophomores. Obviously some talent there, and Avery Petty as well, who's only a freshman. So some things to build on here for the Royals for sure.
And for Minnetonka, of course, a few more games left for them. They've still got to play Wayzata and Edina as well, trying to get that momentum going. They've won 2 in a row. And for Hopkins, don't want to say back to the drawing board because they put together a really good performance here tonight, but their 2 out of 3 stretch is snapped, and with some more tough games to play here at the end of the season. That'll do it for us tonight. Minnetonka wins the doubleheader, 1-0 in our nightcap. For Jason Melillo and our entire crew here at CCX Sports, I'm Charlie Beatty saying so long and good night. Thanks for joining us here